can I just check that we can hear you?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Great.
All good, all good. Excellent, thank you. Everybody can go on mute now, thank you. Just let me know when we can get started, Al.
Go for it.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deborah Young, the CEO of the RegTech Association. I'd like to start our meeting this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting today, pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and to offer my welcome to all of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander friends here today. And to our other members and friends, a big warm welcome to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us here at this RegTech Edge, where we're going to focus on cybersecurity and IT risks. I wanted to start by actually borrowing something from someone else, but I thought it a good way to start today. According to Australia's Digital Trust Report, which was just published this month by the Australian Cybersecurity Growth Network, digital trust is defined as the level of confidence users have in the ability of technology to enable a high-functioning cyber physical world. It is earned by providing secure, private, safe and reliable access to and interaction with technology, as well as the ways in which technology has been designed, constructed and delivered. And cybersecurity is a foundational pillar of digital trust in the economy. And the same report goes on to say that making the link between digital trust and the $426 billion that is injected into our economy through digital activity is key to understanding the opportunities available to all sectors of the economy, as well as the consequences for Australia if we suffered a loss of trust in the digitally enabled services and data that we use every day. Here at the RegTech Association, I think trust is at the foundation of all RegTech solutions. And whether that be cyber, which is what we're going to talk about today, or across compliance automation, financial crime risks, product and marketing compliance, people risks, conduct and culture, financial advice related risks, regulatory reporting, and so the list goes on. By accelerating adoption of this type of technology and RegTech, we can bring trust to organisations. And we've recently welcomed a whole host and a number of cyber firms to our fold. And this is a big hearty welcome to them all. And especially now as we are turning the focus and our minds to protecting our digital assets, and in particular protecting these during these unprecedented times of this current pandemic. I'm really happy to say that today on the line we have representatives from financial institutions from Australia and all around the world. We've got law firms, regulators, consultants, investors, media, research houses, stockbrokers, neobanks, universities, alliance associations, including banking associations, super funds, export and trade agencies, and we are today representing 11 different countries. So on to the fun part of the program. Today I'm really pleased to acknowledge a group of fantastic organisations who are going to be contributing to today's discussion. And I'll start with Deco, Secure, Be Cyber and Align, who are all finalists in our RegTech Awards for this year. So congratulations to you. And also to Fiona from InfoSec Assure, who actually won our Pitch Fest and became the winner of our Accelerator Award for 2020. And our new member, Martin Boyd from Vertex, welcome. And of course, to our very own Mr. Compliance, Benny Chan, the head of Compliance Solutions from FICO, who will lead us through today's discussion as our MC. For those of you that are not familiar with FICO, they offer a wide range of data solutions, including customer lifecycle, analytics and optimization solutions, marketing, scoring, fraud, compliance, and cybersecurity. Before we get started, I just wanted to go through a few little housekeeping things, if I may. If everybody could remain on mute, that would be awesome. And I'll just get those who are speaking to turn their cameras on when they do. We are inviting questions, as many questions as you can come up with, please. But what we'll be doing is we'll be using the chat function for you to ask your questions. And if you wouldn't mind just actually identifying yourself with your question and your organisation, and that will help the MC put those questions into context. Thank you very much. If we don't get to all of the questions, as is sometimes the case with these sessions, we are actually going to stay on the line after the formal close of the session for about 15 or 20 minutes. So if you'd like, if you have a burning question, please stay on the line and we'll attempt to get to that. Otherwise, the contact details of those presenting today will be made available to you, and we will also be providing you all, this is being recorded, and it will be available on our website at the conclusion of the event. So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Benny from FICO. Over the past 10 years, he has assisted hundreds of first-tier and second-tier financial services institutions and helped them to effectively build and utilise fully automated compliance and AML solutions across Asia Pacific and globally. Benny has been a member of ACAMS Australia since 2012 and is a certified anti-money laundering specialist. He graduated from the University of Sydney with a Master's in IT and the University of Hull in the UK with a Master's of Business Administration. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Benny, who's going to give us an overview, and then we'll get on with the presentations. Thank you, Benny.
Thank you, Deb. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to meet you all in the air. It's my pleasure to be the MC today. So as you know, the topics of today, cyber risk. We see the nature of the threat changing due to COVID-19 as attackers exploit uncertainty, unprecedented situation, and rapid IT and organization changes. For instance, like the remote connection challenge, work from home, maintaining control of identity and access, restoring the compliance privacy. Is there anyone other ready for cyber and risk control, security of remote working, how to protect your system, data, and personal information? So it's good to have all the speakers. The webcast should share their thoughts to help you today. Just a quick housekeeping. Every speaker will have 5 minutes to present. So, but at the 4 minutes, once you see, I use the Harry Potter stick, not chopstick, to hit my wine glasses. So you will only have 1 minute left. So please be punctual, for 5 minutes presentation. So and on the other hand, after every presentation, you have 2 minutes for Q&A. If time not enough, you will leave it to the networking, the last 15-minute sessions, So let me introduce the first webcast speaker from DECO Secure. Jackie Nelson is the co-founder and CEO of DECO Secure. Established in 2015, DECO Secure was founded by passionate technologists and privacy advocates. DECO is proudly an Australian-owned and operated technology company that believes everyone has the right to access powerful and private communication platforms. Our product range consists of innovative, intuitive, and comprehensive applications that address the most complex communication security problems confronting both individuals and organizations of any scale. So, Jackie, may I over to you, please?
Great, thank you, Benny. Thank you very much for that introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jackie Nelson. I am the CEO of DECO Secure. So DECO Secure is an Australian cybersecurity technology company that builds tools that allow organisations to share, collaborate and communicate on highly sensitive and confidential documentations. I'm just not sure how to do the next slide thing. Do I just point? Alison? Great, fantastic, thank you. And as you can see here, DECO Secure, we work with some of, and we're trusted by some of the most security conscious organisations in this country. And our flagship product is a product called Deco Vault, which is a secure file sharing and document approval tool. So this tool actually allows organisations to securely collaborate and share on highly sensitive and confidential workflows. And to give you some real life examples of that, it's law enforcement agencies use our platform to share and approve warrants. And law firms use our platform to share briefs of evidence as just an example of some of the use cases for our products. So COVID-19 obviously solidified our place in the market. And we certainly helped many of the organisations that we work with that needed to be able to move sensitive documentation around in a new challenging environment. So moving sensitive documents securely was one thing, but COVID also highlighted challenges for governments, organisations and individuals who then needed to have sensitive conversations that they would normally have in a closed boardroom. And we all saw the alarming headlines about existing video conferencing solutions and their inherent risks. So during the rapid shift and the way that we all had to transition to a new way to live and work, and as a little bit of light relief, a very funny Australian comedian and media personality by the name of Hamish Blake decided that it would be pretty cool to pop up unannounced and uninvited to people's Zooms meetings at both work and school. And so if any of you are like my 14-year-old son who loved the idea of Hamish Blake popping into his maths class unannounced and causing chaos and disruption, to them it was actually just a little bit of fun. But for organisations, it actually started a much bigger and more important conversation. Not only who might be able to pop up unannounced and unauthorised, but what might be going on at the media server where sensitive conversations may be watched or being recorded. So because Deco is a security company and we build technologies that are secure by design, we had the opportunity to build Deco Links, an industry-first, native web-based, end-to-end encrypted video collaboration application. And what I do know is that if we don't win any other awards this year, we will win an award for the longest product name. But next slide. But we talk about it being built in the web browser, end-to-end encryption security in the web browser. Why is that even remotely compelling? Well, obviously, when we're now working remotely, Deco Links running in the web browser securely means that you can access it from anywhere, anytime. There is absolutely nothing to install or download, and it means that wherever you are always able to communicate in a totally secure environment. So the fundamental difference in the way we deliver video conferencing is that your communications can never, ever be watched, listened to, or recorded at the server. But what is equally important is that complete meeting and communication privacy, as all of us on this call will know, is about more than just end-to-end encryption. End-to-end meeting security is absolutely key, and Deco Links achieves this by consistently delivering on our pillars of security. Authorization means nobody uninvited can ever enter your meetings. Authentication talks to the integrity of the host environment, and auditability means that we record and maintain all audit logs around communications to help us with regulation and compliance. But why would you trust what we say? So when security is so important, other companies have made security claims that are simply not true. So Deco Secure, like I said, is a security company that builds video conferencing tools. We are not a video conferencing company that now tries to add security. And to this end, we take our security very seriously. We independently test and verify our platform and claims constantly. And we're also in the final stages of IRAP. We have a range of clients from many different sectors, and the one thing that they all have in common is that they all care deeply about security of their data and confidentiality of their meetings. Thank you very much for your time, and I would be delighted to take any questions at the end of this, and I look forward to hearing from any of you that would like some more information.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. Very impressed, presentation. We have a question from Suhaib Ahmed. Suhaib asked about how is the authentication and non-repudiation achieved to maintain document integrity and confidentiality.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Can you see the question on the chat, Jackie?
Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, silly me, I don't have it.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, sorry, yep. How is authentication and non-repudiation achieved to maintain document integrity and
confidentiality?
Yeah, obviously in the end-to-end security, the end-to-end encryption means that nothing is ever decrypted in the browser, and everything is authenticated at either end in the way in your registration process when you come to Deco. I'm not. Yeah, I can't actually read this properly. I don't know why.
They have a second question. What encryption algorithms are used, and how secure they are against side channels attack? Yeah,
so use elliptic curve 256-bit encryption. Certainly the most succinct way to answer that, Suhaib, is if you head over to our website, we have our NX Test Lab security claims test available to download on our website. All of the NX Test Lab spend all their time pen testing and claims testing our platform, and all findings of those are available for you to access on our website. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Maybe last question, what sets you apart from all other communication and collaboration platforms on the market? For instance, like Slack, Zoom, G Suite, BlueJeans, etc.
Yeah, okay, Benny, thanks. So I guess that the fundamental difference is that we are actually a security company at our core that builds communication and collaboration tools. So, like Slack, I think you mentioned, Zoom, all of those are actually about helping organisations to be able to communicate and share, but very often they have to now think about security as an add-on to what they do. Deco Secure started as a security company, and our charter is absolutely about security first, and then building tools that enable organisations to communicate and collaborate on top of that, and that's what sets us apart.
All right, thank you, Jackie. Quite informative and useful. Thank you. So probably. Next one, going to next one, the company is called Alan. Kyle Vietto, the CEO and co-founder of Alan, a globally operating RegTech providing organizations with next generation software to confidently navigate the cyber, regulatory, and compliance space. So Kyle, may I leave it to you now?
Good afternoon, everyone. Looking very much forward to sharing a little bit more about Align today. Maybe on the next slide, a great way to introduce Align is actually through our team. Now, we are currently around 45 people from 15 different nationalities. We have a 50-50 gender split in our development team. And the reason that I bring this up is because this is what makes us great, right? It brings a diversity in our thinking, a diversity in the solutions that we bring to the table. And it's also what personally gets me out of bed every morning, because I love coming and working with this team. But more specifically on the next slide, I'd also like to introduce you to our specific Australian team. So Jeff, an absolute expert in our field, heads up the team here in Australia. Tiffany heads up our sales operations out of Sydney. Steve and Brendan support sales and customer success out of Melbourne. And I really hope that these guys can interact with a lot of you going forward. Now, Align was founded in 2015. We have more than 40 clients around the world, with, of course, also many very valued and trusted customers in Australia. But today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about cyber risks in the context of COVID. Now, an adverse event such as COVID hits, and from a cyber risk perspective, you need to understand and you need to react to this adverse event appropriately. Now, the only way to do that is to actually know where is the completeness of my risk coming from. And on the next slide, that is one of the core aspects that Align offers. So we provide you with a framework, with a library of controls linked to standards, laws, regulations, but also to an extensive risk universe, right? So this is a great way to start to understand where are my cyber risks coming from so that I can appropriately evaluate them. Now, on the next step, you might ask yourself, well, okay, now I know where they might lie, but how do I actually figure out where those, what those risks actually are? So we've built a powerful risk assessment methodology where you can run at-scale assessments and understand which cyber risks may apply to my organization. Now, once you know what risks may exist, a big question that we answer on the next slide is, well, how probable are they? What is the impact on my organization? And for that, we've built what we call risk analytics. So it's a way of using algorithms and our graph linkages of different predefined scenarios, more than 1,200 individual scenarios, to understand which risks actually may be most probable for my organization. And of course, we also provide the ability to track, to manage those risks, to mitigation, to accept risks, to close risks, or also to track remaining open risks. But one big challenge after I've actually qualified those risks is to actually quantify those risks. And on the next slide, we've put some thought into how to actually quantify risk. So we've used methodologies such as FAIR to take a quantifiable approach to non-financial, so specifically cyber risk. So it helps our customers to really understand what is the dollar figure behind that probable or improbable, impactful, non-impactful risk. And so our customers can use this across their portfolio to calculate their financial loss potential for their select number of risks. Now, what we're left with now is we understand in context of COVID affecting our organizations, which risks apply, how probable they are, and what the individual financial loss might be, and also how my exposure will reduce as I execute along my mitigation plans. But on the last slide, this really adds sort of the last link to the chain, which means aggregation, because we never look at risks independently. One risk for itself will not give you, as a responsible for risk, the actual answer. And that's why we built a powerful aggregation simulation capability. We use cutting edge serverless technology to create an incredibly powerful simulation engine that can run Monte Carlo simulations on portfolios, for example, of 30,000 risks with 10,000 iterations in real time, and actually provide a calculated value at risk. And now we're at a point where we understand which risks are actually affecting us in this adverse event, what that actually means, and what value of my organization is at risk. Now, this really provides this end-to-end capability. And I just got a question. Yes, absolutely. Our control frameworks are aligned to PCI DSS, GDPR, ACSC Essential 8, ISO 27000, CSI, the Cloud Security Alliance, CCM, and many more. Now, just where this really excites me is because it brings together aggregation, quantification, qualification, and last but not least, if you'd like to see more on the next slide, you can go and check us out on our website. And also, if you have not heard enough of me and my co-founder Stefan, check our podcast out on anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We have the RegTech Report, where we discuss topical RegTech stories every 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. It's really great, May I have one question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking ahead, what is your view, on the role of RegTech in terms of how it can help organizations stay ahead of compliance, cyber risk, and the future unforeseen crises and pandemics?
Absolutely. So I think one of the big challenges is investing the right amount, right? Over-investing in mitigating risks is not smart, right? Because you're spending way too much money on your compliance, on your risk mitigation. Under-investing is obviously horrible, because if something like, God forbid, a COVID 2021 happens, then you're not prepared, right? And so the only way to really be appropriately prepared, invest the appropriate amount, is through smart technology that provides you with that risk transparency. And I think that RegTech can play a huge role in that. So I really look forward for us as Align, but of course also the other RegTechs participating here in this event to play a big role in supporting organizations.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. You have
I got one question from Suhaib around greatest risk on through COVID-19. To be honest, Suhaib, I think one of the biggest risks is the shifting threat surface. Right, so I think even pre-COVID, there were still organizations that thought of had a very traditional view of cyber, right, where you have your premises and you have your walls around it and everything in is secure and everything out is not. And now there is no within because no one's there. Everyone's at home, be that the technology that we use to virtually collaborate, be that the actual human interaction. Just think of the social engineering attempt on Twitter, right? Would that have happened if everyone was sitting at a desk and say, hey, this guy just called me and wants something weird. Do you know anything about that? Right, so the threat surface is shifted or was shifted very quickly through COVID. And Deborah, thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Probably I change to the next one, InfoSec Azure. Fiona is the founder and director of InfoSec Azure and the cybersecurity consulting. Fiona has 20 years experience working in security, from developing security in online banking channels to the head of cybercrime for one of the Australian largest data management companies. Fiona is passionate about removing the fear and the doubt surrounding cybersecurity and providing advice, as well as the tools that empowers and engages individuals and businesses so they can achieve their business goal. So Fiona, may I over to you, please?
Fiona, sorry to interrupt. It's Alison. I just wanted to explain that there seems to be a bit of technical problem with the PowerPoint. So sometimes when I'm flicking forward, it's just reverting to the previous slide. So if you see that happen, I'm seeing it too, and I'll flick forward again. But apologies if that causes any confusion. I'm not sure why it's doing it.
That's fine. So I'm just trying to get my camera on. Okay. Right, so everyone can see me. So, sorry. I've just been working on how to secure my organisation from hackers by reading all the recommended regulations, standards and codes of practice. So I've got here the Information Security Manual from the Australian Government. I'm just working on adhering to all of the requirements in there, and then I'll pay my $50,000 to get IRAP accredited. I've got my ISO standard here before I get my audit. Oh, that's 27001, 27002. 2717, that's right. Oh, and the PCI DSS, which I also need to pay to get accredited for NIST. Anyway, it goes on. Oh, and there's CPS 234 just here. There you are. So anyway, hi, my name is Fiona Long and I am the founder of InfoSec Azure. Next. Now, if you're in the information security industry, you're feeling like what hopefully some of you might have just felt then, overwhelmed with all of the requirements. There's a lack of resources with hundreds of questionnaires being floated between all of the organisations. There's a lack of good resources and skilled resources in the sector. Your sales team are working on selling your products and services, and they're looking to you to, looking to the cyber risk teams to provide statements around how you prove your business is secure. And you know your organisation is not secure, not perfectly secure, but instead of spending your time maturing the controls needed to secure your company, you're drowning in spreadsheets answering questions. Next. So if you're not in the industry, I'd like to imagine that your job is to ensure your organisation is secure from your job is to secure your organisation from threats. But you're actually spending your day answering a myriad of questions from regulators, auditors, customers, partners. And sorry, I'm not quite in the screen. And some are asking you how you prove yourself against CPS 234, national or international standards such as NIST or SOC 2. Next. And while the industry has created these regulations and standards and codes of practice to secure their country or their sector, they've actually created thousands of overlapping requirements. In this example, you can see how 4 different standards ask you in slightly different ways how you manage your incident response communications. Next. And as cyber threats increase, so does the volume of regulation. At InfoSec Assure, we've mapped the requirements and criteria from over 20 standards and regulations to 20 core practice areas. And you can see here, our latest gift from our friends at APRA is CPS 234. You'll see the little red lines. That's their additional requirements. And so some of you, especially in Australia, will be feeling the pressure on the supply chain. And I'm sure some of you are nodding your heads, those supply chain questionnaires that are going out, which intensified when the pandemic hit us, and they wanted to know more and more, trying to align to CPS 234, but also sending more questionnaires around how you're responding to the pandemic, which is effectively how are you securing your remote access, how are you ensuring your business continuity programs are working, and how are you ensuring you've got availability of your network to cope with the different types of traffic that's coming in. And so across these many standards, there's lots of controls. There are many, even just if you look at the identity and access management practice area, you can see here there's over 400 different criteria, controls, requirements, letting you know how you should manage people's access to your systems. And of course, many of those are duplicated. Next. And as you attempt to answer all of the never-ending questions, you can't always find the answers quickly, as questions relate to various parts of your company, and every questionnaire is in a different format, and you just don't have the people to help you. Next. So, okay, it's a hard problem, but let's look at the basics. The threats aren't changing. There's nation-state attacks, there's malicious actors, human errors. Those things haven't changed in 30 years. They may increase with the pandemic, or increase with the tsunami, or increase with the bushfires as criminals try to take advantage of vulnerable populations and changing in technology, but the results are the same: breaching data, loss of revenue if you're in the financial services industry, loss of license. So InfoSec Assure, we're trying to reimagine how we conduct information security assurance and flip it on its head. We want to be able to use InfoSec Assure to information security assurance to secure data, win customers, increase revenue, protect IP, and access new markets. Next. All right, so to do that, I'm going to have to really wrap this up. So to do that, we centralise all of our requirements, remove the duplication, we provide an accessible tool. Next. So our tool has three main features. We have an asset mapping feature, control assurance, and some sexy reports, and I'll show you how that works quickly. Next. So you map your information assets here, and you can map your information assets to your technology assets, to your suppliers. The point of that is that when you do risk assess something, or you are looking at your controls, you're looking at the right ones for your business. You're not using a checklist approach. We're really identifying the scope of your organisation. And this is where you simply select the standards and codes of practice and things you want to adhere to. Next. Then underneath the practice areas, the tool gives you a set of questions relevant to your business and your scope, which you answer. Next. And the reporting function gives you tailored reports, both for your clients and regulators, showing them what controls you have in each of those practice areas that align to these standards. And then you are also provided with management reports that show you where you may be lacking, where you need to uplift your security, and some guided recommendations for uplifting in different areas. Next. So we have many different product features. Next. So whether you're a cybersecurity consultant wanting to do your job 10 times faster, or a business wanting to effectively assess your assets and ensure that you're secure and provide reports, we're looking to solve those problems for you and meet your needs. Next. We're an early stage startup. Next. And we're wanting to help companies take control of their information security risk, make great decisions, and be proud to share their practices with regulators and clients. Next. And hopefully we're going to change the lives of those poor people at the end of those arduous information security questionnaires and checklists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thanks for very informative information. So is there another questions, on the line from the chat? Not yet. You can still ask, in the last 15 minutes in the networking session. So thank you, Fiona. Then the next one.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, my pleasure. The next one will be B Cyber. Let me introduce Karen is the CEO and the ENT employee number 2, and B Cyber. The business has a combined governance and financial services experience of well over 15 years and brings a true business lens to the fast-paced world of
Oh dear. Okay, so if we just go on to the next slide, please, Al. Thank you. So we're a cybersecurity company that works with groups to harden their cyber risk prevention programs. We believe in security layering, and we believe that we should offer our clients the best mix of both proprietary and third-party solutions. So today we're going to introduce you to one of our marquee partners. It's RC 4.1 powered by Bulwark. They're a Danish cybersecurity firm born out of Denmark's NC3, and combined with the B-Cyber conversational agents, we provide quoting and downtime calculations as well as a last line of defence. Next. So here are the problems that we address. So can you be sure that your current prevention measures are enough? There are many large organisations who've relied on traditional prevention measures and have paid the ultimate cost. Once a bad actor gets in, there's really only two choices: either pay up, or if you don't pay, hope like blazes they haven't done anything with your backup data, or dump it on the web or sell it to the highest bidder. And unfortunately, as we all know, this is the modus operandi for the latest iteration of extortion ransomware. The time to detection is also a bit of an issue. It's the constant flow of ransomware variants. So if you have a look at NetWalker, which was a variant of Mail2, so that's the first attacker of Toll. So that happened in late January. Microsoft didn't come out until the 7th of March to say, hey, be careful, they're out there and they're attacking. And we actually had something up on our YouTube channel on the 14th of February. So we are working quite hard in that respect. And too expensive. IBM's 2019 cost of data breach report said that an average breach in 2019 was 2.13 million. RC 4.1 offers a proven last line of defense for a tiny fraction of that. For around US $7,400 or $6.10 a month per active user, you can actually get a last line of defense. Next. And this is a part of the problem. The attack surface has had hypergrowth. You need people within your organisation to work out what the best combination is within each of those. And as you can see, I'm so sorry, it's really, really tiny. I tried to get them all on, and that is why I'm wearing glasses today. Next. So the uncomfortable truth. Once the bad actors get through your defences, you have a limited time to find, stop, report, and deal with the fallout. And this is where RC 4.1, the last line of defence, comes in. Next. Unlike traditional IT security, which is installed on every device, RC 4.1 is stored centrally on a designated virtual server in the backbone of the network. It works in the cloud in Azure AWS. It uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to adapt the initial alerts. And looking at the heuristics of the file and not the file extensions, it can detect both known and unknown ransomware. Next. RC 4.1 runs silently in the background, keeping your network safe without placing additional pressure on your system. So next, please. Only responding when the illegitimate encryption occurs. And then it shuts down the device and the user in seconds. Remember Toll? Their MD came out after the first attack to say that their IT had found and contained Mail2 within 48 hours to 72 hours. Now, if you use an encryption rate of 6,000 to 10,000 files per minute, they lost around 17 million to 43 million files, plus 1,000 servers. We think that's unacceptable. Next.
Karen, we may have lost the presentation, so if you can keep powering through until we recover. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, no problems. Alrighty, so how about we have a look at this? Because this actually shows it working. Okay, so the outbreak's initiated. RC's monitoring, you can see that in the top right, and then it immediately shuts down the encryption in seconds. So as I said, you were looking at 6,000 to 10,000 encrypted files per minute. So seeing is believing in this case. So apologies for the movement of the slides, guys. That sort of was a bit weird. But for more information or proof of concept, please give us a bell or contact us at support@bcyber.com.au.
Thank you, Karen. We have some questions from Suhaib, our top fans, in RedTech.
Yep.
So his question is about, is your model able to detect 0 days attacks?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The answer is yes. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And the second question is, in addition to the ransomware and data breach, do you provide any protection against the BEC scam?
No. This part of the business is focused on protection and not prevention in that respect. So typically you have prevention measures in the terms of, firewalls or next-gen AV, things of that nature. This sits behind those. It makes the assumption that once the bad actor gets through, it's effectively whitelisted. So that's when RC 4.1 steps in and stops it.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. I may have one question. As you mentioned, why is the RC 4.1 is different from the current protection system, such as the next generation AV, etc.?
Yeah, that once again comes down to the fact that it's protection and not prevention. So if you think of it as a sprinkler system, so if you're working in the office and a fire occurs, the sprinkler system comes on, puts the fire out, all is good. That's effectively what RC does. Once the ransomware is in the system, it effectively stops it within about 10 seconds. So you will lose some files. You're looking at about 10-ish files. But it's very easy. Once that's done, you you disconnect the user and the device that's been infected. They can't encrypt anything else because they're taken off the system. And then an automatic report is generated so that you can either give it to the board or to whatever legislative body that you need to.
Thank you, Karen. Really appreciate We have some questions from Suhaib, but probably leave it to the last 15 minutes networking.
Sure.
Is that all right, Suhaib?
Yeah.
Thank you. Really appreciate
Thank
Karen.
You.
Thank you. So the last one will be the web test security. Let me introduce, Martin Boyd, the founder of Web Test Security, was previously the executive manager of cybersecurity for the Commonwealth Bank and Australia. So welcome, Martin. Can I over to you now, please?
Yeah, thank you, Benny. Camera, all good. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so Vertex Security, jump onto the next slide. A little bit about, obviously, background, worked at the big bank, and realized need to help businesses with cybersecurity, and that's sort of the starting of Vertex. And sort of beyond that, we've moved on and we provide services and help businesses with their cybersecurity, as well as help businesses with their cybersecurity, as well as we've built our own products to help them, as well as to help other companies as well, and really try and drive that. So they're really going to talk about one of those. Next slide. So we've got 3 products, and all our products are around improving the cybersecurity of your companies. All very interesting. XPRIZE around API security testing, Shell Protect around application whitelisting. But we're just going to talk about XSurfLog, and we'll just go through that. And I think there was a question raised earlier, next slide, on what is the biggest threat. I would say potentially at the moment, what do you think is the biggest threat? Is probably the method that hackers most commonly use again and again to consistently gain access. Next slide. If you've thought about it for a second, you probably realized it's phishing. So 27% of people will click on a phishing email. So extremely high likelihood of success. The other one is 91% of cyber attacks start with a phishing email. And this is even performed by governments. Governments even use it as an attack method, as well as hackers as well. So it's just a standard. And to be honest, the methods that we've used in the past just don't work. And so if we just click the next slide. So I mean, the question I ask is, what have you got in between you and protecting you from clicking on that link? What security or protection is there to do that? So what is between your click and something malicious? Hope? Have you got something else? And then the other one is how do you tell if someone in your organization has clicked on a phishing link? When people click on a phishing link, also when they click on it, they thought it was legitimate. So they don't know, or they can't self-report that they've clicked on a bad link, because from their perspective, they thought it was fine. And even more so with everyone working from home, how do you get that communication? So that's this challenge with the phishing. Next slide. So this is where XSurfLog comes in our product, and it fits on the browser and fits in between that click and that click trap. So what that means is it doesn't matter if the link is clicked from a PDF, an email, a Word document, because XSurfLog is in the browser, it is able to detect that link and able to make changes for you. And because also it's in the browser, it gets better visibility than anything else out there, which means it can actually determine whether the page is a login page or not, which means from a monitoring perspective, as well as from a protection perspective, we have more information and we have better protection than essentially any other product out there. Next slide. So the other thing to talk about is some other issues, obviously, in regards to browsers and data, and that 28% of data breaches are considered to be an inside job. And actually, when there is an inside job, or when someone does click on a link, there's this window of time that before that you can actually, if you respond quick enough, you can actually stop the impact that happens to your company. And that's because the cyber attackers don't actually act immediately. And on average, we've seen that as to be about a week. And this is from experience with actual cyber incidents. And so what that means is, you know, in that regard, you actually have time, if you can monitor and detect this, that you can actually, within 1 week, you can actually prevent yourself from having that full impact. The question then is what do you have to help you identify and detect that as soon as you can, so you can potentially avoid your impact as well. Next slide. And so once again, this is where Xsurf Log comes in. Because it has a whole number of suite and tools. It's cloud-based, essentially managed. It has an AI engine that helps detect and block. So it does a lot of automatic blocking for you. It has some inbuilt DLP to help you monitor and block uploads. But on top of that, it allows you to determine phishing pages that have login in them and block those as well. And there's a whole number of other features as well. And being cloud-based, there's no network latency, there's no hardware, there's no license, because it's not in between the communication of the actual internet. And you know, it works from home, it works from the cafe, it works from work, wherever you want to be, even from the beach. And because it's obviously, it's always up to date with the latest information from our system and our AI engine and the data that we have. Next slide. So I'll leave you with the question to think about it and think about Xsurf. But the question I'd have is how do you know no one in your business hasn't clicked on a phishing link and then correspondingly given access to a cyber attacker? Obviously, if you guys want a proof of concept or want to have a chat for more questions, got some contact details there. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Martin. Your question is really good questions, you know. Yeah, on the other hand, we have 2 questions from Suhaib. You know, okay, his question is, since your product works in the browser, are you able to detect the DOM manipulation and the cross-site scripting attacks?
It depends how they're working and what they're working. But yes, we can detect certain things in the DOM because obviously that's in the browser and what we're working with. Cross-site scripting attacks, the browser actually has a lot of detections already built in for that, and pen testing as well on the pages you do is a common defense. So in short, not really. So, but obviously, I mean, there's some stuff we can do in there, but yeah, probably a further conversation with that one.
All right, thank you. The second question is, can you provide a report of users who has clicked on the phishing link, you know, of remediation, you know, actions by the organizations?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's probably the biggest part of Xsurf Log is it completes that loop. So, what happens is not only can we detect a phishing attack and protect it, but what we can also do is allow you to, if you identify one that we haven't detected in the AI engine, it allows you to then actually add that to the block list. But on top of that, then search the list to find out anyone who's clicked on it. So now you can complete that loop and not only find any historical people that clicked on it, but as well as block any future attempts as well.
All right, thank you, Martin. You know, I may have one question, you know, to you. You know, from your presentations, this sounds very good for some companies. But how about would this work with the other companies who already using a proxy?
Yeah, I mean, great question. So, I mean, Firstly, it does actually work with proxies, so it can actually improve the security of your proxy, because what we can actually do is set up an integration between the XSurfLog and the proxy, so that only XSurfLog data goes through the proxy and blocks any other general browser data. The other one is, furthermore, it is cloud-based, so it can be applied with or without a proxy. So that means you can use it from home, from work, with the VPN, without a VPN, cafe, beach, anywhere you want to. So it doesn't have to go through a proxy, which means it doesn't actually add any latency or delay on or performance to the actual user's experience. So they still get a fantastic experience. And then also, finally, as it is a browser, it sees what proxies can't see. So it can see stuff like if that page has a login on it, or if it has other attributes, which can be really, really helpful. If you want to do an analysis of what people have clicked, for example, you can filter that right down to where there was a login on that page, or other kind of attributes that we detect, which gives you greater detection, greater tracking.
All right, yeah, thank you. It's really helpful, and
that logging, tracking, detecting, the monitoring, and better protection, all complete.
Yep. All right, that's great. Really appreciate. So all the speakers, thanks all the speaker from each RegTech, and very thanks for their presentation and their useful information shared to all of us. So I think for myself, I really appreciate the RegTech. They can build up an association in Australia. We saw the other RegTech association has been in UK, New York, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Now extended to Australia. Is a good community to us. So I think, Deborah, should I leave it back to you now?
Yes, thank you, Benny.
No worries.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Benny very much, and also our other presenters, Carl, Jackie, Fiona, Karen, Martin. In particular, I just wanted to say we're sorry about the technical problems. We're not really sure what happened, and we're aware that Karen probably missed playing her video. So we're going to take it offline with her to work out how we can actually get you a copy of that by putting it online. Yeah, our apologies for that. But I do want to thank Alison, who works under a great deal of stress and duress in the back end of all of this, making sure that everything progresses as usual. This is the first time we've actually had any technical glitches. So thanks, Al, and thank you all for bearing with us. I also wanted just to let you know that we're running these sessions every fortnight at the moment. So the next one we're going to be doing is on the 28th of July, and we'll be unpacking ASIC's product design and distribution obligations with SkyJed and our members Ash Street. And then on the 12th of August, we've got a global catch up with our colleagues in Canada, the US, and we've got the Trade Commissioner from New York actually also joining us for that session. So if you want to understand more about what's actually happening in North America right now, that would be a good one to put into. And then coming up, we've got speech and voice analytics, and also our second part of financial crime. And I think at that stage, we'll hear a little bit more from Benny when we set a date for that. And finally, I just wanted to let you know the 18th of March is our 2021 is our Accelerate RegTech 2021 event. So please mark your diaries. Next slide. Thanks, Al. So this is our member community. We've grown that in 3 years from 8 companies to 150 companies, and you can see them all there. Everybody that presented today is a member of the association, and it is their right to present. If you would like to explore how you can get the right to present, you can do so by joining us. And on the next slide, we have the website URL. You can go on there, have a look at the benefits of membership, but we would love to have you join us. And I think in wrapping up, we will actually stay on the line for 15 or 20 minutes if you'd like to hang about and do some networking. But I think, today goes to the very heart of what RegTech is all about. And I heard these words come up several times from each of the presenters, where we talked about protection and safety and security and simplification and productivity and efficiency, all go to the very heart of RegTech solutions. And these can bring trust to our regulated ecosystems, trust to consumers, but also that segment of consumers, and they are the vulnerable. You know, the solutions that we've seen today can go to help everybody restore that trust. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody very much, and we will call a close to the official proceedings now, but then invite those that would like to stay on the line just to have a casual chat, or to let us know who they'd like to get in touch with, and we're happy to connect you. So thank you for your time, everybody, and good evening or good morning, wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you.